don't use your microphone. We don't need to say any names, but we will be accepting questions through chat. We will be accepting questions through, if you raise your hand and want to use the microphone on the WebEx platform, you can do that, but just be aware we are recording this and it will be posted to our Have Your Say website, and it will be on Facebook Live. All right. For those of you just joining us, my name is Tracy Zurich. I am a community engagement coordinator here with the City of Guelph, and I'm looking forward today to talk with everybody about the transit fare strategy. So thank you for joining us. A thriving transit is important, an important piece as we look into sustainable transportation networks, a strong economy, and reduced carbon emissions. And these are all really key pieces as we move toward the future of Guelph and make Guelph future ready, as we like to say. Last year, we did the transit route review. Many of you may have joined us for that. And that's where transit planned out it changes to its routes and its fleet to serve transit over the next 10 years. So this is the complementary part of that. Now we're looking at a way to grow our ridership and serve the community better, starting at the fare box. So that means programs and policies to help us plan and make decisions about fares going forward that work within the route review plan, the future ready plan, and for you, the City of Guelph. Your feedback today and through the rest of the community engagement on haveyoursay.guelph.ca and in our live engagement opportunities will provide feedback that we're collecting that will inform pieces and decisions along with research, best practice, staff expertise, and through all that information gathering, we'll be developing a fare strategy, and hopefully it's a great one that works for the City of Guelph and all of our community members. So that's what we're doing today. We're talking about all those pieces, and we've got some great staff here to share information with us and help us through those discussions. Quickly before we get started, for those of you joining us on WebEx, just quickly, there's a chat button. It should be in the lower right corner of your screen. It kind of depends on what device you're using. You can use that chat button to ask us questions or provide comments anytime throughout the session. We'll be gathering those questions. I will read them on your behalf, and it just sort of helps move things forward. For those of you on Facebook, you can also put your comments and questions in the chat on Facebook. And again, I'll read those along, but hopefully if you're on Facebook, you know where the chat is there. The other option is you can raise your hand, I hope. That's usually if you find your name on the participants list, you should be able to click on your name and raise your hand that way. And if you raise your hand, that will be an alert to me that you would like me to unmute you, so you can use your voice and ask questions for yourself. We're happy to do that. We don't want to restrict anybody from participating in whatever way you feel comfortable. It just sort of helps us keep the background noise down if we're in control of those microphones. So bear with us, but participate any way you want. Ask your questions any way you want. We're here to hear from you. That being said, we're going to start by you hearing from us. So we'll have a brief introduction from Robin. Now, Robin, I've never asked you your last name. Gruss?
Garris.
Garris. Robin Garris. And then a presentation from Courtney McDonald. Robin is the general manager of Guelph Transit, and Courtney is the manager of Transit Business Services. On screen today, we also have Jessica Taylor. Jessica is coordinator of sales and market development for Guelph Transit. Thank you, Jessica. And Carissa Matson, transit planning specialist. And she's here if you have any questions about routes, and she's a big part of our team in our background research. So we'll have 15 minutes of you hearing from us. We'll give you some background information about the fare strategy, and then we will open it up to, again, for those of you who joined us a little bit earlier, on Menti Meter. So we'll go to another website called menti.com, and we'll take you through a series of polls that are just a jumping off point for a conversation. We really want to workshop with you some trade-offs, some things that you prefer, and find out really what the temperature of the community is on a couple of items around transit fares. So I'm really looking forward to a strong conversation with you all. I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts. And I hope we have a little bit of fun together. That's my hope for the day. But to get us started, I will hand us over to Robin. You can have a little fun before we get into presentations.
Thank you, Tracy. Good afternoon and welcome to today's Transit Fare Strategy virtual workshop to discuss fare strategy options for the city of Guelph. As Tracy alluded, my name is Robin Garris and I'm the General Manager of Guelph Transit. We appreciate you taking the time to be part of our fare strategy discussions today and provide feedback towards our final strategy. Today, Tracy and Courtney will lead the fare strategy workshop. Courtney will start with a short presentation on our transit fare strategy and will discuss our goals and deliverables, along with engagement, discussions, and questions that we want to involve you in as part of our workshop. We will also provide time at the end for open discussions. Thank you all for taking the time to be part of our transit fare strategy virtual workshop. I will now pass it on to Courtney for a short presentation. Over to you, Courtney.
Thank you, Robin. I am now going to share my screen with the presentation. Can I get a thumbs up, Tracy, if you're able to see?
That looks great. Courtney, go
Excellent.
ahead.
All right. Thanks again, everyone, for coming today and participating in our workshop. In 2021, Council approved the Future Ready Plan, which included a recommendation to complete a transit fare strategy, which is essential to support the Future Ready Plan. As a result, a key initiative for transit, as outlined in this year's work plan, is to complete a comprehensive transit fare strategy, which is a detailed plan for fare programs, policies, pricing, payment options, and structure that will set the course for Guelph Transit over the next 10 years. The plan will detail policies for guiding decision-making. It supports the city's strategic plan goals, allows for system modernization, incentivizes and increases ridership, and seeks additional revenue-generating opportunities. We are engaging all at Guelph, whether you ride transit now or not, along with businesses and employers. We want to know what fare programs make transit more financially accessible, how changes to fares can make transit better, who our riders are and how to create equitable fare structures, and what we can do to get you riding Guelph Transit today if you don't already. Community feedback will be used alongside data from municipal comparators, best practices in the industry, and staff expertise to develop the strategy. The final strategy will include a review of our current fare system, guidelines to inform future decision-making, updated and detailed policies and recommended changes to the fare structure, programs, and pricing. We are here today to discuss the purpose of the fare strategy. We are seeking input from the public, and we want to have meaningful discussions on fare programs, policies, structures, and payment options. We want to ensure the public is aware of what has been identified as in scope and out of scope for the fare strategy. In scope includes fare programs, policies, payment options, and fare structure. Out of scope is interregional fare structure, securing sponsorships to pay for fare programs, changing eligibility criteria for subsidized fare programs managed by community investment. This includes programs such as the Affordable Bus Pass program and Welcome to Guelph. Out of scope also includes integration with Presto, the University of Guelph Pass, and changes to service plans. Through community input, we are seeking engagement on fare programs, structures, policies, and payment options. The next few slides will summarize all of the engagement items we are seeking the public's input on. I will then share with you the 6 topics we will be focusing on today for discussion. At the end, there will be the opportunity to discuss and provide input, comments, or ask questions on any fare strategy topics. Guelph Transit is exploring various fare programs for its current and future customers. Guelph Transit currently uses a traditional monthly on-your-way pass to offer frequent travelers a discount, but discounts don't have to be limited by the calendar month or be paid up front. We are asking the public what option makes the most sense for them. Should we keep the traditional monthly pass? Should we implement a rolling monthly pass, which you pay for up front, it's effective the date you purchase it and expires 1 month from that date? Or a loyalty program, where you pay a regular fare a certain number of times and then ride for free for the rest of the calendar month? High school students currently have an option for monthly passes now, but are there better options we should be exploring that are even better, such as a high school semester pass or a summer pass program? Or is there another program we haven't thought of? Transit recently launched a pilot Kids Ride Free program for children age 5 to 12 years old. During engagement, we want to know if the public is now a user because of this pilot, or they're using transit more frequently because of the pilot, or you will not be utilizing the program, but you think it is an asset to the community. Different communities offer different ride-free programs. Some are for kids, some are for seniors, but there could be other options too. We want to hear from the public what ride-free programs they think are right for Guelph. We want to engage the public and employers if there is an interest in a corporate pass program. Corporate passes are fare programs where the city discounts a percentage of a monthly pass and the employer matches the same percentage so they can offer the employees a discounted monthly pass. We want to hear from employees and employers if this program is of interest. Everything comes at a cost. Free or discounted fare programs still need to be paid for in other ways. If a program is offered, what kind of funding should we explore to cover the costs? Should it be corporate sponsors where companies partner with transit for free or discounted fares? Should we make regular fares a little bit higher to pay for free or discounted fares, or make city taxes a little higher? We want to hear the public's ideas on how to fund discounted fare programs. Guelph Transit is exploring different fare structures and policies. Feedback will help inform decision-making intended to improve the customer experience by making Guelph Transit fare system more fair for our residents and visitors while maintaining affordability for existing transit riders and enticing non-transit riders to take transit. We are reviewing customer fares to ride the bus. If we were to make a change, how would you like to see that change happen? Small changes every year as required to keep up with the expenses. For example, 1 to 2% each year, or which would be equal to 5 cents every year, or a larger increase every 5 years, which would be 8%, for example, which it could equate to 25 cents. Transit fares are based on different things in different cities. Currently, Guelph has based fares on age, such as children, youth, adult, senior, combined with other specialty programs to serve groups of Guelph as needed. Which fare structure is right for Guelph? Our current age-based system, or one fare for everyone, plus specialty programs such as the Affordable Bus Pass program? We are exploring new ways you can pay for transit. When paying on the bus, how would you like to pay in the future? Would you be interested in tapping your debit or credit card? How about your Apple Pay or Android Pay on the bus? Would you be willing to pay a premium for this offering? If you currently load your fares at a city facility, if there was a self-serve kiosk there, would you be willing to use it? Are there other payment options that we should be considering? During today's workshop, we will be focusing on 6 topics. We will be discussing payment types on the bus, asking you how you want to pay in the future to ride the bus. We will be discussing frequent rider programs. We will talk about free and discounted programs. We will ask you to rank different programs in importance to you in the community. Everything comes at a cost, so we want to ask you, how should the city fund free or discounted transit fare programs? We will discuss the pace of changes for fares, when and how should fares change. Finally, we want to prioritize the fare strategy. In other words, we want to hear what topics are the most important to you. All of these items have been selected today due to their importance and gives us the opportunity to discuss trade-offs associated with each of them, and also for us to provide additional information which may impact your feedback. At this time, I am going to pass it over to Tracy to begin to start the Menti Meter.
Thank you, Courtney. So I will point out that we do have our engagement website live. That's haveyoursay.guelph.ca. And these topics are also discussed there through a survey. But we're looking at it from a slightly different angle here during the workshop today. So it is really focused on trade-offs and preferences and benefits, whereas the survey is a little bit more focused toward I guess also preferences. But the type of information we'll get here is different than the type of information we'll get there. So all of you watching today and listening, please do also fill out our survey if you can, because it does approach these topics from a slightly different direction, and we gather more information on other topics as well on haveyoursay.guelph.ca. So it's complementary. Both are very valid to do. Maybe just before we jump into Menti Meter, if anybody has any questions now based on the presentation, maybe we can answer your questions now. I'll start things off by asking Courtney, I know we've done some research, of course, already looking at other communities. What are they doing for innovations to increase ridership starting at the fare box?
Other transit agencies have seen a lot of good success with the Kids Ride Free program. They've seen a big uptake in those programs. Those have shown to be quite successful. Other programs that have seen success are having a Seniors Ride Free Day. They've seen significant increase in riderships there. And corporate pass programs where employers are partnering with transit agencies, those are starting to show a great uptake as well.
Okay, so those are all things that we're looking at probably, now that you've said it, it makes sense. Probably based on seeing them being successful in the other communities, would those work for us is the direction we're looking at. Okay, I got that. All right, well, let's jump into Menti. Oh, we got a question coming in. You mentioned paying a premium for Apple Pay. Oh. Approximately how much would that user fee using the Apple Pay or the Android Pay on the bus? What would that be? Do we know?
Sorry, we don't know the price at this time. We're just starting the initial conversations with engaging the community to see if it's of interest to them. And if it is of interest, we will then go back to look at what the additional fees would be associated with it.
I imagine if it's $5 per tap, we wouldn't go for it. But if it were 20 cents or 15 cents, that would be something that we might consider and maybe bring it back to the community again to see if exactly those amounts would be reasonable. I could see us doing that. Oh, I had an idea, but no. I'm going to jump straight into Menti now. So I'm going to steal presenter role from you, Courtney. Take away your privileges. And I will share. Let's hope that works. So menti.com, I mentioned it briefly at the top, but for those of you joining us, and Courtney, if you can just give me a thumbs up if that looks right, we should be seeing just the screen that says join the discussion. You're not seeing my chat windows, and I have about 12 windows open, everybody. So if you see me like looking side to side, I'm not nervous and jittery. I'm just trying to look into all my information feeds to run this meeting. But you should just be saying join the discussion. So those of you joining us, menti.com is a website that does sort of active polling. You get to see community response through the polls live in action with a little bit of animation. So we can have a little bit of fun. The poll itself is going to be very informative. It'll give us data. Data is always useful. We like to make decisions based on data. But today in this workshop context, we'll use that data as a discussion point and sort of carry on a conversation based on our findings from this group. It is a fairly small group today. It's a workshop during the workday, so maybe a lot of the community members couldn't join us today, but we wanted to reach people where they're at, when they have convenience in their schedules. So those of you joining us right now, I hope this was a convenient time for you. And we're happy to have the discussion with anybody who wants to have this discussion with us today. We do have 2 other workshops planned, one this Saturday in the morning, and then one next Wednesday in the evening. So we will be getting a variety of people with a variety of different schedules and availabilities. So please hop over if you have access to an alternate device, maybe on your phone, maybe a second screen or an iPad or tablet of some sort. Those are really handy to have, so you can have the WebEx window open and the Menti Meter window open. If you can't do that, that's fine. There are other ways to participate. You can pop information into the chat itself in Facebook or in WebEx and let us know what your feedback is. And we can have the conversation that way. If this isn't working for people attending today, we'll just jump ship. We can adapt. We want to have the conversation you want to have. So we'll give it a go and we'll see how it works. So go over to menti.com and enter code 67799979. It should be that easy. Those of you with scanning capabilities with your phone, you can scan the QR code that's on the screen right now, and we'll get started. And this website will be on the top of all the screens as we go, so anybody joining us partway through can jump on and join the discussion. Okay, to start, this is a word cloud. We just kind of want to get a little creativity flowing. What should be the goals for the transit fare strategy? What should those goals include? And I believe I have it set up that you can enter up to 3 words. And the way this will work is if people start entering the same words, then we start to see those words get a little bit bigger and bolder, and we know what's really important to the community. And if everybody enters 3 words, we should have a nice little cloud of interesting things for our staff to consider. Go ahead and enter those. There we go. We've got some words popping up. Affordable, of course. I'm not surprised there. Accessible, easy, equity. Yeah, keep it going. So this is one thing that I don't think we covered, Courtney, that, I mean, affordability, of course, comes to mind. We haven't set what the transit, the number, the cash fare number and those things, what those can be yet. Do you want to talk maybe a little bit about what goes into setting those fares and how we calculate it and why those haven't been set as something that we can engage people on? Do you want to pay $3.25 or $3.45? Like, we're not asking that. Why aren't we asking that here?
Thank you, Tracy. Great question. There's a lot of factors to consider when you're determining fares and setting fares, because we have to balance the need of the taxpayers as well funding it. Transit has several different funding sources for operating budgets. So we not only have revenue from the fare box, we also have our contract with the University of Guelph for the UPass. We also have revenue from advertising and bus charters. We also currently have a council approved revenue to cost ratio that we try to stay within. There's also industry standards for performance indicators, such as making sure that we're cost effective, which is making sure that our excuse me, making sure that all of our expenses are aligned with our comparator municipalities. Last we checked pre-COVID, we were on par or better than all of our comparators in regards to our cost per vehicle hour, our cost per customer, our revenue, our C ratio, all those factors in. So we need to look at everything as a big picture. It's not just what the actual fares cost. We want to make sure that we're providing a good service. We want to make sure that our fares are aligned with other municipalities that are similar to us.
Right. So this is the background strategy that feeds into that decision making when we have all those pieces put together. And I do believe we have a chart later in this presentation that shows, because I'm sure people watching will be interested, those comparator communities and what they're charging. It is really interesting to see where we fall in line with those. User-friendly was added. Yeah. However people pay, it's going to be easy for them to pay, and you don't want to jump through hoops to renew your card. Oh, seniors has popped up on the screen. Yeah, we have to consider those with fixed incomes and also different levels of interest in using technology. So maybe Apple Pay does work for many seniors, but maybe for many it doesn't too. So we need to make sure that everybody has equitable access and can pay however they need to. Oh, this is really neat. I'm going to move on. I believe those of you watching at home, you're able to go back and continue adding to this if you have more thoughts you want to add. But I'm going to move the screen and you'll probably get a prompt that we've moved on to another screen. Okay, so payment types on the bus. This is what I was just talking about with the Apple Pay. So our current options are cash, the On Your Way card, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, can be loaded for like a monthly pass, but it can also be loaded for rides. Is that correct? Yeah. And a mobile app. And I haven't looked into the mobile app. I imagine that's sort of similar, that you can load rides. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, it's very similar to the card. You can load a monthly pass or load e-rides on it, or cash as well.
E-rides, yeah. Oh, and cash too. Oh, that's good. That's good. But we're exploring possible new options. So these are tap-based, which we're seeing used a lot, especially since the COVID pandemic. Everybody's switching to tap things instead of having to interact with coins. I don't carry cash anymore. I don't know about you, but since COVID, I don't carry cash. Everything is tap. So we're looking at being able to tap your debit and credit on the bus, possibly Apple Pay, Android Pay. Now, you said you were just starting to go down the road on looking into those. Would that be like a single box that covers debit and credit and tap pay, or would you end up having like 5 different boxes and have to figure out which box you're tapping?
No, it would be one single spot on the bus. So no matter what you're using, whether it be your debit, credit, Apple Pay, Android Pay, it would be the same spot on the bus that you would tap.
Okay.
We have reached out to the vendor to make sure that it is possible to do. So we know that that our fare boxes do have the capability of taking it in. Before we go that next mile, though, we wanted to engage with the public to hear if this is what they actually want and need.
Okay, so let's have a little discussion there. When paying on the bus, how would you like to pay in the future? Select as many as you like, and you can see we've got cash up front, and then we've got those 3 new options: debit, credit, then Apple Pay, then Android Pay, and those have the asterisks beside them showing that they might include a user fee. Then the On Your Way card, mobile app, or other. And the next screen, I think I set it up this way, will be where we can enter other. But those of you, as always, feel free to pop it in a chat. We're monitoring the chats. Let us know what that other might be too, just in case. I can't remember how I set this up. I should have looked first. So this is fun. You get to see what Menti Meter does. We get to watch it live action, going up and down, what people are thinking. So people like cards. I'm seeing a lot of tap, all the debit, Apple, Android, yes, 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 yes. And then On Your Way card, people seem to still like. Mobile app, very few on cash. So maybe I'm not alone in that I don't carry cash anymore. I can't see us ever getting rid of cash though. You know, as long as society has cash, that's probably, there's no network downage in cash. Yeah, John asks, will there ever be a time when we go cashless? You know, I think that we take that lead from society, and I imagine there could be a time, looking way into the future, It wouldn't be our decision, but if in the future the world goes cashless, we would have to follow suit, I imagine. We don't take pennies anymore, do we? Okay. Oh, I wish I could jump ahead to make sure that we can see that other. If the next screen isn't a conversation where we can enter comments, please do put in the chat what your other option is, because we'd love to hear from you about what you're interested in. I'm just going to move this screen forward for us. No. Oh, right. I'm going back. Courtney, we wanted to have a little discussion about trade-offs. So this is people's first instinct about what these pieces are. What are some of the downsides to some of these options for payments? What else do we need to be considering?
I think the biggest thing to consider is the additional fees that would be incurred for having the convenience for having to tap, and what that would look like for the customer if they're still okay. Are you willing to pay a premium for this service? For the convenience that you don't have to carry cash on you, or you don't have to have an on your way card with it, that you can simply just go up and there's going to be a convenience fee for that. And are people still willing to pay, are people willing to pay additional money to ride the bus just so they can use their debit or credit card?
Right.
As I said, we don't know exactly what that increase would be, as we are just in the initial phases of looking into it, but we do know that there's going to be increased fees. We pay a per transaction fee, and then there's also a percentage of the value when they're tapping as well.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. So we did have this next screen set up to revisit it. Okay, now that you have more information, how does that change the way you feel about what you'd like to use going forward? Let's do this. I have a feeling we do have only 5 or 6 people participating in the Menti directly right now. Go ahead and put your answer in. It might not change because we don't have the bigger numbers in this group. But we'll see. I just like watching the Menti go up and down. I think it's fun. Well, maybe it has changed a little bit. I'll give it another second. Sometimes people take a little bit longer.
I'm really curious what the other is. What haven't we thought of?
Well, I have seen on Have Your Say, people are asking about, is it Presto? Pesto? Mustn't be Presto. Is that being considered at all, linking up with Presto?
At this time, it's not in our short-term plan, but is potentially longer term. When we did go out for a request for proposal back when we purchased our fare box, Presto did not provide a submission to be our fare box provider, which is why we currently don't have Presto. And as you mentioned, Tracy, currently our buses do not accept Presto, and it's not on the not on our short-term work plan, but we do plan on revisiting in a few years, as there's several factors to consider. We would need to conduct a cost-benefit analysis, as there would be a lot of infrastructure costs to change out fare boxes, and we would need to ensure we have support from Presto, because right now they're mainly just in the GTA area and then Ottawa. There isn't many other agencies outside of those realms that have it, so we need to engage with Presto to see if they're interested in. But as I said, we plan on revisiting this in a few years to see if it's going to become part of our work plan to work towards.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, On Your Way seems to be working great. We've got so many people using it. We're running a user satisfaction survey right now for those reloading their On Your Way card to make sure that the reload process is going well. And from what I'm seeing coming in on that, because I'm monitoring those surveys, people seem pretty happy with it. So it's not broke, not something we need to fix today. But I'm glad you're keeping your eye on what the trends are and what the options are, because we don't want to get stuck in the past using something that's just not working for the community. If maybe Presto or who knows what else becomes an opportunity in the future. Everybody's got their eye on the environment of how to pay for transit. So this has changed a little bit from the first one. There's a little less interest in Apple Pay and Android Pay, possibly because of user fees. So that's interesting to me. Not totally surprising, but this is why we wanted to have this conversation the second time to see how much apprehension there might be there, where those trade-offs really are, if that's the factor. And please, folks, please do put in the chat, what's that factor for you that made you change your mind? I'd be really interested to hear. And also, persons who selected other, if you've got something specific in mind, we do want to hear from it. Let us know if it was Presto, but let us know if it was something else too, because you guys are the ones who maybe take transit. Maybe you've taken transit in other communities. Maybe you've seen what works elsewhere. We want to know. Our research can only go so far. We can't look at every single community.
Can I jump in, Tracy?
Yeah, I saw you holding your microphone there. I was just about to call for you. Go for
I
it.
put my hand up, but I don't think my hand's big enough.
Oh,
Let me
because I'm
take my
sharing a
hand.
screen, I can't see
It's
anything.
okay. I put my hand down now. I just wanted to mention that this is great, great communications back and forth. And what it really comes down to when we're talking about a transit fare strategy, it's choices for our customers. We're talking about all the different kinds of choices, and depending on what fits your specific needs, whether it's Apple Pay, or you use your cell phone, or you still go the old way and pay cash, because there are a lot of people that do that. It's providing our customers with the choices that's ideal for their situation. And that's why, as you said earlier, we may never get out of allowing people to pay cash, or we may have an incentive program. But it's all about meeting the needs and the growing needs of the people that use our transit system, and making sure that we've considered all the options when we make those decisions. So great conversations, and it's nice to see that we have a broad range of people that are voting for the different streams that we have for that. So this is very good stuff. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Robin. Now, I don't know if this would be you, Robin, or maybe Courtney, but the question just popped into my head that if this fair strategy, does it need to set out stuff that we implement, in the next year, 2 years, something like that? Or can it sort of lay out, these are markers we'll look for, and we might consider making a switch to X, whatever program, policy, fair decisions down the road, sort of what we would look for in the community in order to make the leap to the next whatever.
Can I start, Courtney, and then you can
Yeah,
jump in?
absolutely.
So let me jump in by saying that I believe most people are aware that we have our Future Ready plan that's in place. We're in the first year of our Future Ready plan. And part of working alongside with that Future Ready plan is our intended fare strategy. Eventually, we want to have a great Future Ready plan. We want to have a fare strategy, and we want to put those two documents together and want to point it in the direction that leads to a transit master plan for Guelph Transit. It's all part and parcel of the big picture. Our big picture is a puzzle type picture, which means that we can add pieces, take away pieces, we can speed the process up, we can slow it down. So what we're talking about today isn't something that we're going to put in place tomorrow. We might put some pieces of the puzzle in place tomorrow. We might put a lot of the pieces, depending on where we stand with our transit network. You have to understand, we're just coming out of a pandemic right now, and we're still struggling a bit in terms of recovery for ridership. We're trying to make the right decisions for our customers and for the residents of the city of Guelph in terms of transit decisions. And part of making those right decisions is to do exactly what we're doing here. Talk to our customers, get feedback, make sure that we're all inclusive in the decision-making processes. And as we move forward, we're going to try some new ideas, and we're going to be unique, and we're going to have some choices for our customers so that when they do decide to take transit, that they're going to be able to say, hey, I like the network that you have, and I like the choices that I have, and it fits in line with our strategic plan, and it's pointing transit in the direction for many years to come. So not sure if I covered it all, Courtney, but go ahead, and if you want to add some more.
Just one other thing to note, Robin, to add to that, we do have a question as part of the Menti towards the end where we're asking people what's most important to them. Is it to have good fare programs, discounted programs, that sort of thing? So that could also guide some of our decision of what we should prioritize first. So we're looking to hear from the community on how they want us to prioritize all of these pieces to the fare strategy. So we'll be looking to you, the public, to help us prioritize what we need, what you guys want us to do first.
And on that, maybe we should start moving forward because that is an important thing. We don't want to rush that part of the conversation. So let's go. Okay, I told you I would stumble on this. Frequent rider programs. Tongue twister for me. So Courtney, do you want to maybe talk a little bit about we've outlined 3 here. I think we only do the monthly pass right now. Tell us a little bit for those who might not be familiar with these programs. What are they?
Absolutely. So we have our traditional monthly pass, which is valid from the first day of the month until the end of the month. Other municipalities have implemented a rolling monthly pass. It will be valid from the first tap on the bus and is valid for 30 days. The trade-off to having the bus valid from the first day you actually use it is that you need to remember when the pass will be expired. Because right now, using a traditional monthly pass, you know that's good from the first to the last day of the month. With the rolling monthly pass, you need to remember when it's actually going to expire. Another program is a loyalty pass program. So you pay regular fare for a certain number of times, and then you ride for free for the rest of the month. The benefit is that you don't need to think about if you require rides or a monthly pass that month. You simply just load rides, and once you use a certain number of rides, you ride for free for the rest of the month. The loyalty program could also be expanded to like a week program or a day pass sort of thing. So there's lots of options with the loyalty pass program. So we're looking to hear from the public if any of these new pass programs are of interest. Are they interested in a rolling monthly pass or a loyalty pass program, or do they just want to stick with the traditional monthly pass?
Okay, yeah, they all seem like great options to me. Let's see what this group likes. Moving forward. So go ahead and enter your, woo, right away, loyalty program. Enrolling monthly pass. Yeah, so I mean, so with the loyalty program, how much would you have to pay in advance? I know for some people living on limited income, maybe dealing with income insecurity, putting out a couple of $100s at one time, whether it's in the middle of the month or at the beginning of the month, can be a challenge. How far in advance do you need to pay for this loyalty program idea?
You can just you could load a couple rides at a time. And then once you hit that threshold, so this week you might load 5 rides, and then next week you might load 10 rides and then load 2 rides. But then once you hit that breaking point of say, again, I'm just pulling a number out of rides. It's 30 rides, then you ride for free. So you could just be buying
Right.
small amounts at a time. But once you hit the threshold of 30 or whatever that magic number is, then it flips over to the loyalty pass where you just ride for free for the rest of the month. So you don't actually need to purchase them all up front. So that is another benefit of a loyalty program. You don't need to pay everything up front. You're paying as you use it, as
And
you
again,
go with your rides.
we've got analysts and
Mhm.
number crunchers in the background who will figure out what that threshold number is
Exactly.
once we know sort of how many people use it and that sort of thing. We want to make transit affordable, but we also want to make transit sustainable. That comes down
Exactly.
to our everything's at a cost mentality a little bit later. All right, so we already use a monthly pass. Nobody has voted for monthly pass. What does that tell us? Right. I think that might be that challenge of money up front. And maybe I don't know. So my husband gets paid monthly, so at the first of the month. So for him, it's convenient to put out $100, $200, whatever it is, at the beginning of the month because that's when he gets paid. I don't get paid that way. I get paid weekly, and so for me to put out money at the beginning of the month is a challenge, and I need to save up. So I wonder if that's maybe what's going on here. The rolling monthly pass, and Courtney, you and I have had that conversation before that this meets people where they're at, which is as community engagement, this is what we like to do. If their school or their work or just their lifestyle tends to be toward a different time of the month, now they're not saddled into a specific date, which could be benefit. But like you said, there's trade-offs. You need to remember what that date is. I imagine your card or your app or whatever would alert you when it's time to reload, wouldn't it?
Right now it tells you when you have a certain number of rides left on the bus, and I believe that it can tell you the expiry as well when you're tapping it on the bus. But if you have the app, when you log into your account, it'll let you know when it's good until.
Okay, so you don't need the memory of is it elephants? Never forget.
Yes.
Um, there are ways to find out. Robin, you're leaning in. Did you have something to say?
Can I chime in quickly?
Please do.
Absolutely.
I don't want to steal your thunder. I just wanted to mention that the reason that you might see some people leaning towards a rolling monthly pass and a loyalty type program is I think people, they want to see something given back to them in that respect. So on the traditional monthly passes, a lot of times people have to be in a rush to get their pass so that they can get full usage out of it for the whole month. Something happens, you're on vacation, you got some days off from work, you're not going to use it the full month. People then start deciding, oh, maybe I won't get a monthly pass this month. And they just end up not using the transit as much as they might want to. But the benefits of a rolling pass is whether you get it, maybe you hold off a week and get it the next week because you're
I
back from
didn't think of
vacation.
that.
Now the
Yeah.
kids are back in school and you'll still get the full usability out of that monthly rolling pass. So there's a little bit of a benefit there. And then as always, people are always looking for loyalty. I'm here, I'm a loyal customer. Give me a little bit back. And that's really what it comes down to is what can we do for our customer to say thank you? We're very lucky here in Guelph. We have a fairly good ridership. Even coming out of COVID, we're starting to get our riders back. We want to make sure that we're taking advantage of any options we have to make sure that we honor the fact that we have a good ridership here. So what can we do for our customers? And if there's something that we can do, we're certainly going to look at that. And whether it's one of these options or an other option that someone else might be able to provide us with what they think we should do, it's all about listening to our customers. So that's what we want to do.
That's great. And we got a comment on the WebEx chat saying loyalty is the key word. Remember your faithful passengers. Yes, we wouldn't have transit without the passengers. I mean, we can talk till we're blue in the face about the environmental benefits and the transportation benefits of transit. But unless we can get people on the bus, none of that pays off down the road. So we do want to be very thankful to our loyal passengers. So yes, if you're one, person making the comment, thank you. Yeah, I hadn't thought about being able to take a week off just when it's convenient for you. So it really fits into your schedule better. That's thinking. That's thinking. Okay, let's move the conversation along. I'm going to zip to the next screen here. Fare programs. Okay. So we're covering a bunch of different programs in this, and some of them are kind of relate and some of them are very different, but these are all things that we're considering, things that we've seen work in other communities. Corporate pass. Courtney, what is a corporate pass?
So a corporate pass is when a business partners with Guelph Transit to offer a discount to their employees. For example, Guelph Transit provides a 10% discount, and then the employer matches the 10% discount for a total of 20% discount. This would provide the employee with an even deeper discount that they were getting. Other municipalities have seen great success with this program. We currently have two businesses within the city on the corporate pass program, but we're looking to revamp our current program and try and make it better for employers and employees to help get more people using transit. So this is one topic that we are really interested in. And also we are reaching out directly to the employers, and there is a separate survey just for employers and employees. So we can really focus in on this pass program to get more information from employers and employees. We also have the Kids Ride Free program. It's a current pilot program that started March 1st. Kids 12 and under ride for free. Kids ages 5 to 12 years old require an on-your-way fare card to ride. So we need this in order to track the ridership. Other municipalities have seen great success with this program. This program provides affordable options for families, and it's also an investment as kids who ride the bus at a young age are more likely to become transit users as they get older. Yes, we want to invest in the youth. One program that we found quite common with other transit agencies is having a seniors ride free day just once a month, and they've seen significant increase in ridership on those days amongst the senior groups. So this has been a really successful program in other municipalities when we were doing some research. Another program we're considering is group discounts for student field trips. So we would work with the school boards to develop a program that allows students going on field trips within the city to ride at a discounted rate. The benefit of this program is that these trips would generally be done during our off-peak times when ridership is lower, so we can help fill the seats on the buses. And again, we're investing in the kids to become comfortable using transit at a younger age with the hopes that they'll become a regular transit user. So these are four fare programs that we're really looking at as part of fare strategy that we want to hear from the community if they are of interest to them, and we want to hear what the community has to say about them and to rank them in importance to them.
Right. Yeah, so all of these, even though it's giving discounts and free rides, at the end of the day, it's increasing ridership, hopefully, right? Like you said, getting the kids interested when they're young on taking transit and taking away any, I don't know, stigma or confusion, getting them used to how to take the bus. And so when they age into youth or adulthood, they know what they're doing. So that comes down to what I said at the beginning, right? The environmental impacts, the impacts on our entire transportation network. It helps grow a better society by having more people take transit, even if it doesn't maybe add or increase to the bottom line of our budget the way regular fares would. So it's for the good of the community, right? All right, so yeah, let's see the next question here. All right, please rank the discounted programs in order of preference. And I believe this is set up on Menti that you'll get to say which one you want first, and then it'll pop up with that, okay, what do you want second? And the drop down will show you everything except what you've already responded. So if you said kids ride free every day as your first choice, then that won't be an option in your second choice. So you don't have to think about not worrying about adding 1, 2 times or something like that. It becomes not an option. So yeah, just go and go through the drop downs and let us know which one you prefer. Did did I plant that kids ride free every day came top because I said it? I didn't mean to influence the decision. Although we are seeing in the surveys coming in a lot of support for the kids ride free. How long have we been doing that? That's only a couple months old, is it, Courtney?
It's almost a month old. It started March 1st and it runs for 1 year.
Okay, okay. And how does that work, the kids ride free? How do you need a special kids card to show people?
Yep, families can go to Service Guelph or Guelph Transit or go to a select retailer to pick up a card. If they go to a retailer, they will pick up a blank card and then they can upload their proof of eligibility online and send it over to our staff, and then we will activate the card for them. If they go to a city facility, they bring in their proof of eligibility to Service Guelph or Guelph Transit, and the customer service staff will process the request. They need the card to ride the bus because we need to track ridership,
Ah, yeah.
because we want it, because that'll help tell us the success of the program. And actually today I just checked the numbers. We have 126 cards issued already for the youth in just
Oh,
in
wow. In just
a
a couple
month.
weeks.
Yeah.
And it's such a new program.
Yeah, and ridership's been really good on it. In the first week, we're already up to a couple hundred rides for them taking on. So I haven't checked that piece of it recently, but so far it's been really great uptake and a lot of good feedback from the community.
When we first started talking about this, folks, I'm not a transit expert. I'm a community conversation expert. I like to talk and I like to listen. That's what I do. But when we
Can I
started
chime
talking
in?
about this, yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
chime in quickly? While we're
Yeah.
talking about the kids ride free, I just wanted to
Yeah.
mention that one of the other benefits is that families might now take transit because they know the kids are able to ride free. So there's a hidden benefit there that we're going to get additional rides from the parents, from the older kids. Instead of jumping in your car and going somewhere, they might go, well, we only have to pay for two fares now, mom and dad, and let's just take our three kids or our two kids or the family together, get on transit, they ride free. So there's a little bit of a hidden benefit in regards to growing ridership and getting used to taking journeys on transit that hopefully will be lifelong experiences for the kids while they become passengers for the rest of their life.
And there's you kind of touched on it. There's an equity piece here that I would think that people living with income insecurity, sometimes they have families and they're typically younger families because people are just starting out in their careers. They're maybe not making as much as people who are established in their careers. Whatever it is, it's more expensive to be a parent, I think, at the end of the day. And so this is a little something to make sure that everybody has access to transit, because you can't say, okay, Johnny, you're staying at home today because we can't afford to take you on the bus. Little Johnny can come along on the bus, and that just makes me feel good. And then we already talked about the employers matching discount monthly passes. Now, Courtney used an example of, I think it was the employer pays 10% and Guelph Transit pays 10% and then 80% fee. So a 20% reduction fee goes on to the customer. Again, we haven't set those rates exactly, right? That's all part of this research and juggling the preferences and the drawbacks and that sort of thing. So those were just examples, right? We're not.
Yeah, those were just examples, and part of the engagement when we're reaching out to the employers, we're reaching out to a couple dozen employers directly to have interviews with them, to chat. My staff will chat directly with them because we want to get an idea of how much are the employers willing to come to the table with for a discount. Maybe they're willing to come with 5%, 10%, 20%, I'm not sure, but we're having those conversations directly with employers to see what they're able to come up with.
And it might be a different interest from smaller employers. Maybe they only have 50 employees, and there are a couple of employers in Guelph that have hundreds of employees, and those would be different bottom line numbers for those people. So that's something we need to look into, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just reading through. There's a comment come in. I used to ride for free on the way to Storm games. It was so efficient. It saved on parking and reduced traffic jams. Yes, the traffic jams during Storm games on Macdonell. I guess COVID ruined that plan. Will there be similar plans in the future? Save on parking, reduce the traffic jams on Macdonell. Oh, it got in there twice. But yes, will we be, was that us in partnership with Storm that offered free rides for Storm games?
Guelph Transit was able to secure sponsorship from a business within the community who paid to allow customers to ride for free to and from the game. So it's in our work plan to start that off again. We'll be kicking that off next month to source a sponsor for the event. We were hoping we can start that again for September so when the new hockey season starts.
Yes.
So it would be for events at the Sleeman Center and at the River Run Center. We're hoping to have a sponsor back for that for September.
Okay, so if any of you watching have a little extra money in your back pocket and you want to sponsor some free rides for Storm, Courtney's listening.
Absolutely.
Transit@guelph.ca, please just shoot her a message and she'll be happy to hear from you.
Absolutely.
I see a comment on Facebook. I babysit kids aged 5, 4, and 3 in the summer, but they are not Guelph residents. Ooh, does that make a difference for the ride free? This person goes on. They're from Hamilton, so normally they would hop on the bus, but now they don't think they are eligible for a kids pass. So they have to take a cab, and the cab companies get our fares. So do the kids have to reside in Guelph? How does that work?
No, they don't have to reside in Guelph.
Oh, wonderful. So literally just need to go through the administrative process of getting the pass so that we can track the ridership. Oh, good news. Good news, everybody.
Kids under 5 also don't require a card. So I think you said they were like 2, 4, and 5, but so the youngest ones don't need them. They don't need a card. So it's just 5 and up that require a card.
Oh, even
so
better.
yeah, absolutely. There's no problem with them utilizing the Kids Ride Free program.
And that ride free program is all day, every day, literally no fares for kids right now.
Exactly.
That is so great. Okay, let's move on. Unless Robin, did you have something you wanted to pop in? No, you're not.
I was just gonna say that in doing so, if somebody brings kids in to ride free, they're probably going to pay a fare also. So there's your added benefit right there. We've made somebody happy. They're visiting the city of Guelph. They're having a great experience, and ultimately, if it's one extra fare we get out of it, as well as the kids having a great time, then we've served the community.
Are we promoting this on tourism? Like, that's a tourism draw. Come to Guelph, see Guelph, and you don't have to pay for the kids to see Guelph too. Okay, I'm going to move on. Everything comes at a cost. And I mean, this is part of everything that we talk about with this fare strategy. We love giving rides away free. Courtney, why can't transit just be free? Let's start the conversation there.
Well, everything costs money, Tracy, as we all know. So if the user isn't paying for it, then it goes back to the taxpayers to fund it all. And that's a lot to put on the taxpayers. Currently, Transit's operating budget has a couple different funding sources, so it's a good portion is funded already through the tax base. We also have our traditional transit fares at the fare box. We have, which also includes our university bus pass program. And we also have revenue from advertising and bus charters. So if we didn't have the fares through the fare box, the impact to taxpayers would be significant. So in order to keep providing a good transit service, we do need to maintain our transit fares and updating the fare structures and policies and programs. As I previously mentioned, it is important to note that pre-COVID, Guelph Transit's performance levels were on par or better than all of our municipal comparators, which includes ridership, hours of operation, our utilization, which is our passengers per capita, our cost effectiveness, which is our operating cost per passenger, and our cost efficiency, which is our cost per vehicle hour. So pre-COVID, we were doing on par, if not better than all of our municipal comparators. So I think that's important to note that Guelph's doing a really good job financially in regards to providing an excellent transit service.
All right. So what do we need to consider? I guess we've talked about it a little already. What we're considering with this, everything comes at a cost. Who should be paying for, I guess it's about these free programs and the discount programs where we aren't receiving those full fares. How are we covering that discrepancy, that difference? Because I imagine every time somebody rides the bus, there's a little bit extra expense on our end and having to keep those routes operating. And I mean, people want them to be more frequent and cover more ground than they are currently. So just saying everybody rides free, maybe we could do that with one single route down the center. So this is all about how we fund these programs, right? Okay.
Can I chime in?
Yes, please.
So it's important to realize that everything starts at with ridership. If you have a healthy ridership, then you're able to make more choices. The choices that you make are convenience to our customers, and your customers are happy, and they'll take transit over and over again. So that's the recipe for success. So what we want to do is when we ultimately make the decisions on loyalty or how we collect fares or how we're going to give incentives or incentivize our product, we want to make sure that our ridership stays strong. We listen to our customers and we make those choices wisely to provide options for everybody, and then hopefully everybody will be happy in the choices that they make.
Well said. So it is kind of a chicken and an egg thing where we need the ridership to be able to offer more programs, but these programs incentivize riders. So starting off somewhere, I guess, is where we're at to be able to make some goals and like we said earlier in this session that this is about making those decisions on how and when decisions and changes get made. So we could be looking at changes that go rolled out later once we reach a certain ridership marker and that sort of thing, right? Okay, folks. I don't like any of these options. Increasing taxes, increasing transit fares, or other. And I do know my next screen on this is, so tell us about that other. I know I have that programmed into this slideshow because, I mean, that's part of it. So, okay, so we increase taxes. It becomes what we in political sciences call a social benefit, where society pays for some of these benefits on transit to get more riders, to reduce the impacts on other transportation. You know, because we don't have as many cars on the road if we have more people taking transit. So it is a benefit to everybody, whether or not they take transit. And same with the environment. So it isn't like saying everybody else should pay for transit. Transit users don't want to pay for transit. They benefit too, right? But by increasing transit fares, then those costs do go to the riders themselves. So can you see the cogs turning in my head right now? Okay, so we're talking about discount fares. We're talking about loyalty programs, but we're increasing transit fares too, which change what that loyalty dynamic is. So I'm doing math in my head. Math is not my strong suit. That's for your policy analysts to work through. But yeah, okay, so we're seeing about even increasing fares. And I think people are only allowed to submit one response. And we've had about 5 people responding to these the whole way through. So it's kind of 50-50 who pays for transit. Can we look at a split? Maybe some increase to taxes and some increase to transit fares? Is that a reasonable thing for the policy to look at, the strategy to look at? Okay. Yeah, interesting. Not surprising. I mean, it's a hard decision. That's why we wanted to ask the community to let us know. We can't flip a coin and say, oh yeah, we'll just increase taxes. We'll just do it that way. There are benefits and drawbacks to all these decisions, like we've been saying the whole time. Okay, now there was one person who selected other. Please do put in if you've got an idea of what that other is, or was it just, oh God, anything but taxes and increased fares? Fine. We can leave that to our policy analysts and researchers to look at. But if you have an idea what that other option is, please pop it in the window now. And even those of you who selected increasing fares or taxes, is there something else we can explore? Because this is just all about exploring. Pie in the sky, people. You know, blue sky thinking. Let's, you know, look at what Ireland does. I don't know. Is there somebody else we should be looking at? So quiet.
Can I chime in?
Yes, please.
So part of the benefits of having these discussions is that it gets people looking outside the box for different solutions. And when we talk about other options, there's a lot of things that we could do that we may not even be thinking about. And whether it's sponsorships or some type of other activity or getting someone to pay part or a portion of a transit fare. What we really need to do is we need to make sure that we're all inclusive on anyone's suggestion that they have and have a thorough discussion to see if there's something that someone else in our comparators is doing, somebody far away that has a best practice that we can borrow and use for Guelph Transit. Talk to the university students, talk to the seniors, talk to all of our customers in different age groups and categories to make sure that we're all inclusive in whatever direction we go. And who knows, maybe somebody will bring a strategic idea that we can consider, even if it's for a short time to benefit the riders, then we should be looking at it. And so that's what it's all about. It's about thinking outside the box and seeing if there's something out there that we can do to enhance our transit experience.
Right, well said. So we're saying business sponsorship, you alluded to that. Gas tax, is that a provincial thing or is that something municipal level we can do?
That's provincial funding that we get, and it's based on calculation. The more people that ride the bus, the more gas tax funding we get. Currently in Guelph, the policy is that gas tax is used to fund our capital budgets, not our operating budgets.
I
So
see.
those funds are used to fund capital projects.
And that's a council direction, isn't it? Yeah. Very valid. All kinds of taxes get used for all kinds of different things. It's fascinating. All right, folks, I'm going to move along. We're down to our last 17 minutes, and I think we're almost at the end of the Menti Meter. And this is a great conversation. I'm learning a lot. Please do pop in the chat, even if we've passed this screen and you think of something, oh, why haven't they thought about this? We don't know what we haven't thought about. We're just a bunch of policy wonk bureaucrats. Sometimes we get put in a little box and we're not actually out there experiencing the world the way each of you experience the world. So you might have seen something work somewhere or just have an idea. Like we said, blue sky thinking. There's no wrong idea to look at. All right, I'm moving on. Pace of change. Oh, yeah, this is a big one. So Guelph Transit is reviewing customer fares to ride the bus. If we have to make a change, which again, we haven't crunched the numbers, we don't, that comes next. If we were to make a change, how would you like to see that change happen? Courtney, did you have, I know we've got the question coming up. I don't want to sort of jump into what that question is. Did you have any background you want to share here?
Yeah, is the next slide the chart, Tracy? Before they
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay,
This is
perfect. I
great.
just wanted to make sure. Thank
Mhm.
you. So as Tracy said, we want to ask people how you want to see the pace of the change. Um, so before answering, let's review Guelph's current fare structure in comparison to our municipal comparators. The transit agencies used here are part of the council approved municipal comparator list, plus other agencies have been added and they were selected based on factors such as how service is delivered, such as it being done in-house, that they are similar sized transit agencies, provide a relevant level of service, and or use technology to operate the transit system that's similar to ours. It's also important to note that transit hasn't had a change in fares since 2016. So when you are
Wow.
looking at Guelph Transit fares, along with the average of the comparators, you'll see that Guelph's cash and regular adult monthly pass and day pass is actually lower compared to everyone else. When you look at the average, our ticket prices are already on par with our comparators, and our youth and senior monthly passes are a bit higher than the average of our comparators. So what we're looking for some feedback on is if fares were to change, would you rather have a small change each year as required to keep up with expenses, for example, 1 to 2% a year, which would equate to, for example, 5 cents on cash fares? Or would you rather have one larger change, but every several years? So for example, 8% increase over 4 years, for example, or 25 cents for cash increase. So we're looking to the public to see would they prefer smaller annual increases or one larger increase, but those happen more infrequently.
All right. So I know the community might be looking at these and looking at every single city and thinking about it. I don't want to take the screen away too early. I don't think we have this posted on Have Your Say anywhere. Maybe we should post this so people can think about it. Because I don't want to show it just here and take it away. But I don't know if you guys can see my cursor. Maybe you can. This average versus this is what Guelph does currently. We're a $3 fare right now. The average is $3.24. So some cities are charging up to, I see, $4, $3.50. So that brings up the average quite a lot. We're on the low end there. And then students and seniors, again, we're slightly lower, little closer this time. The adult fares, I wonder what the difference is there. We see Kingston's a little lower, Cornwall's a little lower for adult. And this would be, yeah, those tickets that you buy in advance. So this is more of a loyalty program situation, wouldn't it be?
It's not loyalty because you're
Well,
paying a set rate. You're not getting anything for
oh,
free out of it. You're
but
just
bulk
pre-buying yeah,
purchase.
they're bulk purchase. So you're
Hmm.
paying up front.
Okay, and then you've got your passes down here.
Mhm.
All right, so folks, I'm going to post this on haveyoursay.guelph.ca if you're still looking at it, unless Courtney give me a shake if there's like we shouldn't do that, but
Oh no, it can go up.
this is on the internet
It's all
now.
public
It's all
information.
public information. You could do your own research and find out what the fares are in other
Exactly. Yeah.
communities. Okay, so I'll post this on haveyoursay.guelph.ca right after this session, just for any of you wanting to sort of look through and think about things, because the conversation doesn't end today. There's an opportunity online to add your comments and questions. There's the survey, and you can always email us at transit@guelph.ca. We are really interested in hearing from the community, your thoughts. Maybe there's other cities that you know of that we should be looking at. Again, these comparators were given to us by council, I think it was, who indicated who we should be looking to. But
Yeah,
still,
about
it's not
half
the
are
only
from
source of
council and
information.
half are from council and half are other agencies that we've used in the past because their
Mhm.
transit system is similar to ours, whether it be in size, ridership, the type of service offered, that sort of thing.
Now I see Kitchener the Waterloo region isn't listed here. Is that because they've got they're the two-tier municipality and
Yeah,
covering a
it's
broader.
regional transit service, so it's not a comparator for us.
Okay, even though they're so close.
I know. Yeah, we do look for them for a lot of ideas, but unfortunately, when we're looking at fares and that sort of thing, they are a really big transit system for us to be compared to.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm funny. You guys just have to sit there and listen to me. You give me the microphone. All right, so let's move on to the poll. Pace of change, trade-off discussion. So we talked about this. So we're talking about small changes every year, which would be a 1 or 2%-ish. Again, we haven't crunched the numbers, or one larger change every several years. So you go a couple years with the trend, with the fare being the same, but then there's a jump. Okay, folks, let us know your preference. Small changes or one big change. Whoa, there we go. One big change is hot off the deck, but small changes coming up behind. I'm getting a little punchy. It's been an hour and a half of talking. More people interested in one big change. So this is interesting because I've been watching the surveys coming in, and I think I haven't looked in a couple of days. This can always change because the surveys are coming in for the next couple of weeks. But the first round of responses was starting to lean towards smaller change every year, I think it was. So this is maybe slightly different, although it's pretty close to even, where one person's vote different. But what does this tell us? What does this give you any insights? And folks, please do pop in the chat if you have any thoughts around this. Give us your reasons for maybe small change every year versus big change every couple of years. Because the reason itself, as opposed to the outcome, could be part of the decision-making process.
I think one of the benefits of a larger increase over several years is that gives us the opportunity to maybe match a big increase to a significant change in service, to a service enhancement. So when customers are getting a significant increase to service is when they get their change in fare. So I think it becomes a lot more, like they're a lot more accepting of the fare change if they're also getting an increase in service levels. So I think that's a benefit of one large change every several years, is that it gives us that opportunity to put the large fare increase and partner it with a significant change in service for the public.
I guess it could also help the public plan ahead. So if they were thinking of taking a job across town and new transit was part of that equation, they would know for the next 3 or 4 years maybe what their commute would cost them. And so they can calculate that into their decisions on jobs or childcare placements or whatever it is. They can have a little stability there. But smaller change every year, it hurts a little bit less, more frequently.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is it seems if you do it every year, some people may perceive it that it's always in their face that we're constantly changing fares, because every year we're communicating out, hey, fares are changing, fares are changing. So if it's only happening every 4 or 5 years, for example, it's not as frequent. So it may be easier for them to accept. But as again, it may be a lot easier for people to come up with just a little bit more money every year versus having to wait several years to come up with more money. So
So there's trade-offs.
absolutely.
And Robin's leaning in.
I just wanted to say that a fare change every year is almost the same as gas prices going up all the time. You just say, didn't we just have a fare increase last year? Didn't we just have one of those? Sometimes a year goes faster than you think. So I like what Courtney alluded to. You tie an increase for a product into a benefit that comes back to a customer. We're going to enhance service, better frequencies. We're going to now service an area that you would like us or have wanted us to service for a while. It ties into our future ready plan. As you're aware, we have different things that will be happening every year. So you tie it into a benefit, and then it kind of makes it easier to accept. Nobody likes fare increases or prices going up, but the bottom line is that we all know what we're going through with the gas prices right now. Almost every day we start seeing that the prices of gas are going up, and it's almost like, oh, here we go again. And we don't want that to happen with transit fares, although it's totally different. But it's those are options that we have, and we can do the best we can to make sure that we listen to our customers when they think it is right for us to raise fares.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tough decisions, guys. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. Okay, I'm going to move on. Bringing it all together. This is our last section here. We are coming up to our time, so isn't that fun? We've talked about free ride programs. We've talked about flexible pay methods. That's that tap and the cash and all those things. Student programs and corporate passes. Strategy about how to fit the right things together in the right ways. So this is sort of taking a look at everything we've talked about today. You've all bared with us for quite a while, and you've learned. I hope you've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, and I've been talking about this stuff for a couple of months with this team. So now let's look. Yes, we've got this matrix. So we want to explore all of these options. So we've got the free rides, flexible pay, student transit programs, corporate fare discounts, trying to figure out where the actual overall priorities are. Are you interested in those programs being available? And on Menti, you'll be able to, for each of those 1, 2, 3, tell us where program availability ranks in your needs, and then also lower cost to the end user, where that ranks in your needs. And Menti will plot it in these quadrants, this matrix, to show us sort of, okay, well, people value this program being available. I wouldn't say regardless of the cost, but the cost may be basically worth it to make that program available. There, you can see the social benefits of the costs associated with whatever program you're responding to. And then some of these programs may be a little bit more, well, I'd like this program, but only if it keeps the cost to the user really down. And this is the sort of stuff that our staff really needs to dig into. So please go ahead. I know it might take, because you have 8 things you need to enter here once you go into Menti. Both these things have 2 questions to go with them. So it'll be a second before these start to plot out. But it is kind of interesting starting to see these dots move around into where your questions are. Oh, there we go. And I know our staff are like on the edge of their seats. Okay, I want to see these dots move. Where does this sit in our community sentiment? There we go. So we're starting to see that these are important programs to people. That, I mean, not that the cost of the user isn't that important, but the program availability is very important. So that's interesting to see. And maybe, okay, so just as the community is looking at these dots, so what does this dot mean? So the number 3 right now shows that if you were to rank a priority of the availability of these programs, number 3, the student transit programs and discounts, is slightly less. Still very important. It's above that median mark, but it is slightly less important than the corporate fare discounts. I think that's how it is. Menti will produce an analysis of this, but this is how I'm reading it. But the corporate pass discount is only important should it be at low cost to the user, right? So that's sort of how we're seeing this. It's really fascinating to me. I kind of thought they'd be spread out a little bit more, but obviously people want programs because they see the benefit of just getting people on the bus. Goodness, just get people on the bus, and we start to see the benefits all the way down. Is anything making you go, that's curious. I wasn't expecting to see that one.
I agree with your comment there, Tracy, about they're really high on programs, like having different programs available. So that's really interesting to hear the feedback and having different options and programs for the different groups in the community being important to the public.
Yeah, that's curious. So we are running this, I think this is the last slide. We are running this a number of times, 2 more times, 2 more workshops. And so it'll be interesting to see the sentiment in the different workshops, because sometimes with Menti, you actually get to see the real-time feedback of people's decisions, and that might influence your decision. So by running this 2 more times, that influence level would change a little bit. So me as an analyst, is kind of curious to see how that will go, or maybe the spattering will look kind of similar. Both will be very telling to us. All right, we are coming up to the end of today. We are having a good time. I'm having a good time. I like to talk. But I do want to say thank you to everybody who's been along with us, whether you're participating in Menti, whether you participating in the chat, or maybe you're just sitting back and learning and you're trying to take it all in. And then, oh goodness, I hope you go to haveyoursay.guelph.ca and fill out our main survey. That's going to be really important. We've had hundreds of people already fill out the survey. The more people we get, the better. We're also it's listed on haveyoursay.guelph.ca. Obviously, everybody joining us now is interested in digital engagement, but we do have in-person engagement too, where we're out in the community trying to reach people where they're at. One of my favorite words, at popular bus stops, at popular community centers. We were at the Evergreen Center last week, talking to people in person, maybe reaching people who aren't so interested in digital. So we're trying to get a really good broad range of participation. So thank you all for everything you've done for us, for everything you will do for us by feeding into our research and letting us know your thoughts. Courtney, Robin, do you have any closing words?
I can speak to next steps once the community engagement is done. So we did start our community engagement on March 21st, and it goes for 3 weeks. Once completed, the feedback will be used alongside data from municipal comparators, best practices in the industry, and staff expertise to develop the strategy. The strategy will include a financial and ridership impact analysis on these fare structures, policies, incentives, programs, and payment options. Transit will then propose a recommended fare strategy to transit management and write a staff report for council consideration and approval during the budget process. So those are next steps for us on our end here. So we're really interested to hear all the feedback that we're going to get. We've already had over 500 people complete the online survey. We've had great turnout so far at all the public engagement sessions. So really interested to continue hearing what everyone has to say and taking everyone's feedback.
And if I can, I just want to add that how thankful Guelph Transit is in the city of the people that are taking the time out to join us today and to offer up their opinions. So we take your opinions very seriously in our discussion processes and when we make our decisions. And a lot of hard work has been done by transit management and city staff. So I'm very thankful for that process, and I'm pretty confident that when it's all said and done, we're going to be set for the we're going to be future ready with our fare strategy. So I'm looking forward to that, and thank you everybody for taking part in this, and I'm looking forward to the next workshop.
Thanks. Yeah, we are learning so much from the community. The feedback is completely invaluable, and we can't thank you enough. But I'm going to stop thanking you because that's 3 people now. I'm thanking you all for your participation. Go to haveyoursay.guelph.ca. Check out all the information on guelph.ca. Inform yourself. Ride transit. If you haven't been riding transit, what are you waiting for? Go ride transit and then give us your feedback again after you've experienced it firsthand. We can't wait. So thanks, everybody. We're going to sign off now. Have a great Tuesday. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.